All right, hello everyone. My name is Brad Gossett from Checkered Flag Media. We're back with another virtual interview this week. This week on the program, we have Chris Muller from Checkered, the app. Chris, how are you today, sir?
Brad, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Good. I'm glad that you could join me. So Checkered is brand new. I want to get into it right away. It was released in April of this year, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. So Checkered Flag Media does have a small presence on there. I've been on some. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had as much time to post as I've wanted to, but I've been checking stuff out, and I love what I see so far. So can you just start with the basics? What is Checkered? Why did you develop it, and where do you want to go with it?
Sure. So Checkered is a racing-only social media platform. So just like LinkedIn is specific for a business or professional profile or that part of your life, this is that for racing. We saw just the noise and politics and cat videos and recipes and everything that kind of got in the way of, a racing person's passion of just interacting with racing people. So we went ahead and built it. It's going really well. We've got some pretty big names on there now. We've got some tracks, we've got vendors, we've got everyone. We're global. We've got people in New Zealand, Australia, UK, Canada, US, that sort of thing, from all kinds of racing too. So it's dirt track modifieds and sprint cars and asphalt modifieds, drag racing, motocross, karting in the UK is pretty big, and anything that's got a motor that chases a checkered flag, we're building groups for. And it's got a specific area for those groups. So if you're a sprint car fan, there's an area just for sprint car posting and interaction. But what's cool about it is that everything that gets posted into those individual groups also gets populated into what we're calling the straightaway, which is the, like if you went on Instagram and just flipped through with your thumb, all the pictures and stuff there. So you're getting a really cool kind of taste of different types of racing from different types of people from all around the world, which is really neat. But if you wanted to go in and specify just in the drag racing world, there's a place for you there too. But back to it, no noise, no politics. Some of our larger racing names appreciate it because their marketing partners are getting specific targeted audience. So they're reaching the people they want to reach. It works really well. And then we've got a really cool business model that we can get into later, but we're super psyched and love having guys like you on and just trying to spread the word, man.
Yep, I love it. And what I really like too is, especially for Checkered Flag Media, and we also own and promote the Mason-Dixon 270 Racing Series. So I spend a lot of time on social media trying to help our guys out in any way that I can. But for me to flip through, and I flip through all the time, and if I see, one of our 270 drivers is working on the car, I'll share that on our Facebook page just to get them some notoriety. But man, I might have to get through, like you said, 10 political posts or whatever else it is, just to get to that one racing post for me to be able to share out. Where if I get on Checkered, I know right away I'm going to see racing nonstop. And if I want to see the micro stuff, I see that. If I want to see the sprint car, if I want to see whatever. And while I'm pretty well connected in the dirt racing world, I don't know much about F1. And I know NASCAR. I don't follow NASCAR. So if I want to see some stuff, I like that I can get on just that channel and just see that stuff to see a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback that, especially with the world we're in now, with everything that's going on, it's a couple people said it's nice to take a mental vacation, from your normal big social exposure. It can really kind of lately it's just been a drag, man. So now hop into Checkered, mix it up, and get to go back and forth with everyone in racing. It's a lot of fun. I think it's mentally good for you. And it's only going to get bigger from here as long as people keep posting, and it's getting better every day.
Yep. No, I agree. And it's cool to see the positives of the sport too, which is all that I've seen highlighted on there so far. It's just the positive aspects of what's going on in the racing world. I love seeing.
Yeah, how it started was I had been asked by some people to write some original content for a country music television channel, right? And so I had some exposure to dirt track racing back in the 90s. So I said, hey, this is a great place to find a story. So I spent a whole summer in the pits of Orange County and Accord and New York and stuff, and just got to know everybody in the pits, right? And to your point, the helpful part of being in racing is what really got me. I mean, they're good, hardworking people that will run you in the corner in the heat, but be the first person to help you turn a wrench to make sure you make the main. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of world I want to live in, and the type of people I want to be around every day, and the society I want to help. You know what I mean? It's a way to give back to a sport and the people that I really like.
Yep, I completely agree. And, you know, I spend a lot of time at the racetracks. Even this weekend, I was at 3 or whatever races at work. I'm losing count at this point. It's crazy. But what you see on social media is people complaining about how bad the track surface is, or, you know, the prices, or this and that. But when you actually go to the races, you see way more positives than you see negatives. Guys helping each other out, working on their cars. Like you said, even someone that gotten together with another car, they'll go back and help them fix their car for the next race.
Yeah.
Teams jumping in and helping each other out. I know my little brother races 270s. He raced a couple weeks ago. We didn't have our four-wheeler. The team next to us was like, hey, take the four-wheeler, push them off so you guys don't have to push them.
Yep.
You know, it's that stuff that I see every weekend, and I think we can really utilize Checkered to highlight what's going on.
Yeah, totally. And you touched on something that really fueled my fire to get it going. Was on social, you would see that question all the time of, you know, if you own a race track, what's the first thing you would do, right? And the first answer you always see is race what you brung, you know. But secondly, after that is bigger purses, right? So I recognize what I call the catch-22 of racing, where small purse, small car count, small car count, small purse, right? So when we put together Checkered, we had a choice to make. Do we go the normal social media app world and just get a million eyeballs in there and then bombard them with advertising? I said, no, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to respect the people, you know, in their time flipping through my app. And so we came up with a subscription model that leads us back to that business model that we talked about. It's, you know, $2.99 a month, $29.99 for the year, so you get 2 free months if you do it up front. But for 8 cents a day, you know, you're not only getting this really cool exclusive motorsports community, but we take a good chunk of your monthly subscription and we designate it towards a purse at a track that you follow, or you call your home track, or what have you. When you fill out your membership on Checkered, your profile, there's a section there for, you know, my track is, and you put your track in there, and we keep track of that. And as the designations grow, we start sending a check to that track every month. You know, and the track can do with that purse money what they want. You know, we're not going to dictate that to the track of how they handle that purse money, but we'd like to see it go down, you know, off the podium back, you know, P5 and such, to kind of help the guy who's, you know, trying to get his late model, late model or whatever, to the track every weekend, but he's not the podium guys who are there every week. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a passion sport. It does nothing but break your heart and take your money, you know, but there's something there that makes you come back. So we want to fuel that purse and let those purses get bigger, right? And what happens when the purse gets bigger? Well, you get more cars, and so the racetrack gets more entry fees. Each car brings with it 3 to 5 people, fans, what have you, more pit passes, more tickets, and so now you get more people there. And what's going to happen? More sodas, more hot dogs, more concessions, T-shirts get sold, and now with more cars, you get better racing. From better racing, you get better pictures for the photographers, and they'll sell more action shots. And so it's this really cool kind of economic model where for 8 cents a day, you can subscribe to a racing-only social app and then seed this whole trickle up and down financial model where the purses get big, and then everything kind of cascades away from that, but benefiting everyone in and around that track. So that is the business model that we're trying to really get going here.
Yeah, I really like that. And the thing I like too is, and I actually had this discussion earlier today, is tracks can't pay out bigger purses, so they can't attract more cars. So when they don't have more cars, they're not making a lot of extra money to increase purses and you know, do other things around their track, which again doesn't attract more cars. So we were kind of stuck in this lull, or like you said, a catch-22 of, you know, we can't get more cars and the track can't get bigger payouts. So I love that you're the injection in the middle to supply some of that money to hopefully
Right.
get us out of that rut, to get more cars
Yeah.
to the track, which will snowball, like you said. Even if we get one extra car, 3 to 5 people, well, that's over $100 for pit passes. And then, like you said,
Yeah.
for food, if they're posting on social media, if they're posting on Checkered or Facebook or whatever else, and can
Yep.
get someone else to come to the track, it's just going to snowball from there. So I
Yeah.
really like where you're starting at.
Yeah. We love it. And we've been in contact with tracks all over the world, and we're partnering with them. And, we're not telling them to go to Checker over Facebook or, stop their Instagram posts. Not at all. I
Mhm.
have a Facebook, I have Instagram, I have Twitter, I have, in LinkedIn, and I look at them all. Right.
Mhm.
But giving them a kind of mental vacation where they can just dive into racing only social media. You're going to do it anyway. Why
Mhm.
not make it a better world by fueling this catch 22 and giving it a way to start,
Exactly. And I really like that you get to pick your favorite track too. So it's
Mhm.
not just the big name tracks are the ones that benefit, but you can designate your track and
Sure.
give back in your own way. And I really like
Yeah.
it.
Yep. And it's, we're building the app every day. We take feedback all the time. We create new groups. I think you would ask me about the micros, and
Hmm.
within a couple of days, groups up, and now people can get in there and start interacting with it. Today we launched our e-game or esports group,
Hmm.
for iRacing and things. So big right now. But my main goal right now is to create the best product I can for the racing community. So we're all ears. We're the platform. Who are we to dictate, what your community should look like? We're going to try and get everyone's feedback, do the best we can in the tech side to make it, work that way.
Hmm.
Some asks will take longer than others, but every day we're working to make this app better. Some new updates just came through a couple days ago, which makes it a little easier to navigate. Posting's a little clearer, and it's working really well. Um, Soon we'll have a whole new messaging platform. Right now you can message each other, but wait till you see what's coming through in about a week or so. It's going to be awesome.
I'm
Um,
excited.
and so we've got our whole tech part, lined up to improve the app. And what we're really excited about, Checkered TV is coming down the road,
Mhm.
where we're going to have some original programming it's in pre-production. Man, if I could only tell you about the call with the person we talked to today, because I was dancing around because it was so good. We're going to do original content, some really cool shows. We're going to leave the live streaming up to the people who do that best.
Mhm.
So we're not going to step on their toes. We can kind of be complimentary to the big boys who do that. But who knows? Maybe we could partner with them or what have you. Right now, we don't have any plans to live stream, but the
Right.
original content on Checker TV is going to be really cool.
I love it. And I would say too that the more people that get on there and check out the app, the better this stuff is going to get too. The more ideas that we're going to bring and the more original content that we'll be able to see on there, the better for all
Mhm.
of us. So if I'm an average fan that wants to get on the app, what are some of the things that I can expect to see on there? I know you said about the different categories, but in each category, what are people posting? What are we looking for on
Mhm. Yeah, so we've got everything you would probably expect from the big boys. It looks and acts mostly like Instagram.
there? Hmm.
We try on purpose. We didn't want to build out too many bells and whistles like you do with Facebook and things.
Hmm.
We wanted to keep it clean, usable, and friendly that way. But you could do pictures, multiple pictures. You could do videos. You can do YouTube video embeds. You can work on surveys. That's going to come out pretty soon. Share it, likes, follows, that sort of thing is all right there. But we try to, again, make it as easy to interact with as possible. But yeah, it's fun, and we're trying to generate and push and get that interaction going now. You've seen this. We're trying to prime the pump, and it's getting there. We've got really high activity moments, and then we've got our lulls. But once we get more people in there, it's going to plane off, and it's going to be really awesome. It's going to be so cool for everyone to interact from all parts of racing. Or you can just focus in your group of racing, which is fine. But it's going to be just so awesome to watch the racing passion come together from all around the world in different types of racing.
I completely agree. And I think the exposure from type of car or for different types of cars is really good too. So, let's say I'm a sprint car fan and I only go see sprint cars every weekend, but I can get on there now and check out some things from some other groups that I normally wouldn't see. Maybe on Facebook, I only follow sprint car stuff and that's all you're ever going to see.
Right.
But I can get on and check out, like I said earlier, an F1 group or a micro sprint or whatever, and get some exposure to some other types of racing that you may know or you may not have otherwise. So I think that part of it's really good.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. One thing I wanted to touch upon, do you think that the subscription-based model, while it's literally 8 cents a day, I believe you said, it's dirt cheap to get on, do you think that also helps keep out some other people that maybe aren't serious about racing and helps us focus on what's important to us?
That is a very good point. And that was a conversation that we had in doing that. It's a two-edged sword. There are people who are incredibly passionate about racing, and 8 cents a day just might not be in the budget, to be honest with you, right? So you have to understand and respect that. But there are the trolls and the people who just want to come and bring everyone down and kind of rain on their parade. So yeah, we were okay with kind of giving some kind of hurdle to make sure that the community we built was nurturing and kind of interacting. Now look, I'm not saying you can't argue or disagree or have a spirited debate with people, but we think that if you have a little skin in the game, you feel like it's yours a little more, and so you're probably going to put a little more effort into, a little more thought into things or what you're doing. But yeah, we thought about that, and we went with the subscription model for a number of reasons, but that was one of them.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think you take a little bit more ownership of it too, if you're paying to be there, even though it's 8 cents a day. So I would say most people could afford it, but I would say it makes you want to be there even more to check it out and see what's going on in the racing.
Yep.
Awesome. I did want to talk a little bit about your involvement in racing. So I read it in an article the other day. I know you're from Connecticut and you spent a lot of time in New York, at Orange County, I believe you said. Street talks and stuff, but why racing? Why did you originally get into it, and what's your history of the sport?
Sure. So my best friend growing up my whole life, and best men in each other's weddings and godfathers of our daughters and things like that. Back in the early 90s, he built a Camaro street stock, from the ground up, pretty much by himself. And he went through Brett Hearn's race school, bought one of Brett's racing suits, and open air trailer, borrowed a pickup every weekend, and I went up with them, here and there to help in the pits and roll it off. And that was my first exposure to it. I saw just the spectacle. Like when we rolled into Orange County, I had no idea that it was that big, that loud, or that colorful even.
Right.
And right there, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Then, we both got married, had kids. He sold the car, whatever. And then in 2012, like I said, some people from California asked me to write some original content. Thought back to my days with my friend, and that's where that happened. That's where the hook got in me, because that's when I was really exposed to the different people in dirt racing and in motocross racing and things like that. I started going on other tracks, and that's where I got exposed to the people, And my friend went on to work in the racing industry and still does. And he actually used to work for the Dale Jarrett, Brett Favre racing experience. I don't know if you remember that. It was kind of like Richard Petty.
Yeah.
So we met him at Nazareth one weekend in Pennsylvania. He took me for hot laps. And we got out of the car, and he could see it on my face, He's like, "Do you want to drive it?" I'm like, "Nope, not for me." I learned real quick an appreciation for people who drive any kind of race car, because get your butt kicked, we were hitting top speeds and all, but the G-forces, the heat, everything about it, I was like, all right, I get it. You guys, you could do that. I'm going to be over here. But so I appreciate the racers and just love the people in and around racing. And what I love about them is their passion and their helpfulness.
Yep, I love that too. And I would say, I've raced 270s before. I've been around all different types of racing, and I love it, and I think it's awesome. But the thing that always keeps me coming back are the people that I've met in the sport. Most of
Right.
my friends are at the races. I propose to my wife at the races. Like
Nice.
everything I do is around that. And it all comes back to the people, and that's what keeps me engaged in racing. And I think it
Yeah.
keeps a lot of other people coming back too.
Yeah, for sure. And this isn't my first like dance with technology and racing. A few years ago, out of my experience in the writing thing, I came up with a company called Pit Fund,
Mhm.
which crowdfunding had become a thing. And that the year that I started that company, uh, the South and Midwest really rainy spring.
Mhm.
And coming from a family business myself, I said, "Wow, those are families that aren't going to make their numbers this year because they're underwater, right? How can we help them?" So
Right.
crowdfunding had become a thing. It's still kind of early. And it took us a little while to build the platform, but we did. And I had talked to a lot of racers, and all you kept hearing was money, money, money. I lose to that guy over there because I buy his used tires,
Right.
or
Mhm.
people were buying a carburetor and not paying the rent. I heard that and stuff. But I did see the helpfulness from it. And talking to them, there's a pride in racing where no one was really excited to put together a GoFundMe page just from the unfortunate stigma that comes from it. I mean, there's a place in the world for that. Believe me, it's great for what it does. But in racing, wasn't that great a connection. So I said, well, what if we gave you a platform that did that strictly for racing, and you can fuel your racing passion rather than ask for donations?
Mhm.
Launched it, ran pretty well. A lot of people signed up. A lot of people asked for money. And then I guess they thought the racing fairies would come and give them what they're asking for. And so
Right.
the campaigns kind of fell. The effort wasn't behind it.
Mhm.
Um, and we tried to educate them and push them the best we could, but it just wasn't scaling like we wanted it to.
Mhm.
So we hit pause, built Checkered, and now we're going to help the entire racing universe. But Pit Fun's still out there, right? It's still a great product for people who use it correctly and want to put some effort behind it. And we think that working through the Checkered platform, we can also kind of own the narrative of like every once in a while saying, hey, if you're looking to raise uh, some capital for next season or new tires or what have you, there's this sister company that we have that you can do too. And we think there's going to be some really good cross pollination there
Mhm.
from it.
Yeah, I think so. Would you have any tips for any drivers or race teams that are looking to raise some money on Pit Fund or even improve their program themselves? What are some things that they can do to help raise capital for their team?
Yeah, so we had fueling tips. Pit Fund, we have fueling tips for people, and the one thing that we find works best is there's the t-shirts and the swag and things like that. That stickers are good, right? What people in racing we have found is what they want is access to the racer, right? So we've seen some campaigns work really well with kickoff garage visits. Have some people in your campaign come to your garage just to kick it around, see the car, take a picture, that sort of thing. Um, and a picnic at the end of the season or what have you. And you could do that with the other marketing partners and kind of pitch it as an exposure event.
Mhm.
But what you're doing here, if I'm a racer, I'm doing this every week, with my fans or people who are building my campaign. I'm doing a Zoom meeting where you can come in, ask me about last week's race, ask me where I'm going in 4 weeks. Am I going to be at, the um, Chili Bowl or whatever,
Mhm.
that access we found racing fans, you've seen them in the stands. There's a reason people wear a t-shirt for a racer. They connect with them, they support them. That's their guy when they go around. Um, so just imagine if you can, through technology now, talk to that racer every week or every 10 days or what have you, then they're going to be, of course, what do you need? $5-10? Boom, here it is. So
Mhm.
that would be my number one advice, would be give people in your campaign access to you. And it doesn't cost you anything but an hour on a Zoom call,
Right.
you know?
No, I love it. That's a great idea. And like you said, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but Zoom's free. Anyone can get
Sure.
on their phone, their laptop, whatever, and do it. And just making those connections with fans, with people that support racing. I
Right.
really like that idea. Like you
You
said
know what
about
else I would tell them? I would
okay,
say, hop on Checker and we can message back and forth.
exactly.
Right?
Yep. And it builds that exposure. So I love it.
Exactly.
Even you said about the racing T-shirts. A buddy of mine's Tim Wogelman. I've been talking to him at the sprint car races at Lincoln Speedway the last couple weeks. Told him last week, I said, "Look, dude, I got to go get a T-shirt," and here I am this week wearing one.
Boom.
So
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no doubt. And it's cool, man. It's a sport that extends itself to an extended family closer and better than any other sport I've seen. You know, I'm a Rangers fan, right? New York Rangers fan, but I don't have the passion for them that I see the people in the stands or someone wearing a T-shirt in racing. You know, and so that's where I want to be. That's where I want to make a living. It's where I want to help people and spend my time.
Yep, I agree. I've seen that passion firsthand, to be honest with you. My mom and grandmother would not miss a race no matter what. I mean, literally the ones there in February at Lincoln Speedway wearing the heated jackets and 3 layers of socks and
that's awesome.
whatever, and they're every single weekend. And they're not the only ones. You know, fans are that dedicated all across this country. So I think if we could really utilize that, it'll be great for all of us.
Right.
So I did ask you a little bit about the driver side of it. What do you think? And this video is going to probably hit most people that are already in the racing community. So speaking to those that go to the races already regularly, what can we do to increase our exposure and grow our sport to people outside of the racing community? How can we get those people to come to a race or get them exposed to some of this stuff?
That's a good question, you know, and that's the trick, you know, that's the trick. Once you get them to the track, you got them, you know, like my first experience with my friend, once I saw the stadium and saw my first night, it was over. I was hooked, you know? So getting someone to the track is the key. You can bombard them with messages and posts and things like that. But to grow the sport, you need to get somebody there, I would say first. And then secondly, just keep telling good messages about the people in and around racing through any platform, through Checkered, you know, post on Checkered, something good that happened. Or, you know, people appreciate hard work, especially in the racing world, you know. So document a late night working on a car or, you know, fixing a flat on your trailer on the way to the track and stuff. People connect that way. And that's what I would say. Just keep being human, show that human side, but get them to the track, man, because once you hear it, it's over.
You're hooked. Yep, I agree. Yeah. And I would say if you could get them close to the cars too, whether that's a car running or not, getting them down there and seeing it and smelling it and feeling it, it's just it's a whole nother world.
Hey man, there's a reason why people drink beers with dirt in it, you know? because it's part of it. You're there.
Yep. It sounds crazy until you do it, and then you understand once you're there.
Absolutely.
So, yep. No, I love that too. And I would say the positive exposure too. A lot of fans, obviously they don't think this, but they see the cars on Saturday night and it's, oh, they rolled it out of the trailer, they race, they roll back in the trailer and they come back next week. But there is so much work that goes into it. Even when we had a 2-car biker sprint operation, my brother and I were washing them on Sunday, tearing them apart Sunday night. Maybe one day this week we're rebuilding engines, we're maintaining the cars. You know, it's 3 or 4 nights a week, and then we got a race. You know, so it's a lot of work that I think people don't always get to see behind the scenes that we can see on Checkered if drivers and teams share this stuff on there.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know behind the curtain here with Checkered TV. One of the shows that we're in development with is called Race Prep Live. So just like if you've seen the show PD Live, where they go to different police departments around the country.
Oh yeah.
Right. And check in and with that sort of thing.
Yep.
We're going to start recruiting and casting different teams and mechanics and racers and things from all types of different racing. And we're thinking on Thursday nights, we go live and bounce from different parts of the country, different types of racing to see that prep that they're putting in for the weekend. So there's going to be tension, you know, can we get this thing built in time? There's going to be frustration, you know, and the best part, because I've been in garages now for a good time, it's hilarious. You know, it's really funny at times. And I promise you, I'm not going to censor that show because the funny is in the gold, right? And how people really talk and interact with each other. and I'm not going to touch that. Just going to put that through and let people enjoy it because, man,
Awesome.
it's a show, you know?
Oh, it definitely is. And those are, to be honest with you, those are some of my favorite memories. I love my time at the track. We're working on cars, hanging out at the garage with the guys, getting it ready. They're doing what it takes. Those are the stuff, or those are the things that I've always remembered. You know,
Yeah.
I love being at the track, but those are the memories that you cherish forever. So I
Yeah.
love that idea.
Yeah, and there's something to be said too about a band of brothers where when things do go wrong or you are challenged as a team, that you need that extra guy, to hold something up or whatever you need. You know what I mean? And everyone's playing a part, and when you finish it, there's that camaraderie that is hard to come by unless you're a high level sports player in the military. So
Right.
this kind of teamwork that comes from racing, that's part of the fire, and that's part of the passion too that I love.
I agree too. And I think it'd be great for the average fan to see that too, that passion of what teams actually go through and what they do behind the scenes. And the other thing I've really made it a mission for me to do this year is the drivers get all of the exposure. Obviously, they get the pictures on the track, the victory lane speeches, whatever. But behind each driver might be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that work on their car in and out every week. Putting in just as many or more hours sometimes than the driver themselves. So that's been my mission is to highlight them in the pits, get them grinding off tires, get them preparing the car. I actually released last week on Facebook, Brett Maholsky Motorsports they race here in 410s in central Pennsylvania. A video of them rebuilding their car after an accident in the heat race last week, and putting it together and just seeing, all the guys working on the car, other teams come down, putting it together. That's the stuff that the average fan doesn't get to see, but it's a huge part of racing. And that's part of it that I love.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I can't wait to share that with people too. I don't know if you saw, but last week we launched a crew group, so there's a group in Checkered that if you are one of these guys who's behind the scenes, but is vital to the racing of your car or your friend or what have you, you can go in there and we're hoping that people interact to kind of share some insights and some knowledge and kind of give, little tricks of the trade and how not to lose the 10 millimeter socket,
If they figure that out.
But it's there, and that's the kind of thing we're going to do. And we've got a marketplace that we're trying to get off the ground that you can buy and sell. We don't take any fees on it or whatever. Vendors and places for media guys like you and stuff. So once we get up to speed and we get the numbers, the interaction in that specific group is going to be really helpful. Really kind of, again, clear, not noisy. You're not going to have to sift through a bunch of crap to get knowledge and exposure to the group that you're really interested in. There's a racing interest, but the professional side of it too. We think there's a track owners and promoters group, right? So they can go in there and say, hey, this happened to me. Has anyone ever had that happen to them? What they do? How about insurance premiums? Who are you using? Things like that, So it'll start helping each other and kind of start breathing. That's going to be cool.
I love it. And I think it's great for everyone, but I really think it would be helpful for a team that's just trying to get into the sport because they can get on and see what other teams are doing. They can see what tracks are doing. They can get some exposure for their brand new team and get their name out there, but also go to the marketplace and buy the parts that they may need, maybe see what some of the other teams are doing and how to really grow their team to be like the others. So I would say if a team's looking to get into the sport in any of those, microsprints, sprint cars, whatever, motocross, etc., go on there and check it out and help build your brand through that app.
Yeah. And again, I'm not at liberty to talk about today's call, but if this works out the way we think it is, I can tell you this, one of the biggest issues or challenges or kind of the mystical Wizard of Oz thing in racing is sponsorship, right? And budgets and that sort of thing. So if things go the way we want, we might have a really good answer for that. So, if you're thinking about joining Checkered now, do it. And if you're still waiting, wait till this comes out. You'll be there. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the app looking for it. So I'll be checking it out.
Good.
And for people getting on, if they follow Checkered Flag Media, we're going to have a lot of posts coming up too. A lot of original content that we get at the races as well, whether it be the sprint cars, micro sprints, legend cars, go-karts, quarter midgets, whatever it is that we cover. We're going to have a lot more coming on there as well. So you get to see original content really every day at this point. I'll be posting stuff.
Yep.
So, awesome.
Yeah, I like your stuff too. I see your stuff. I really like it. It's good.
Yep, our goal was to do something different all the time. We always
Mhm.
see the GoPro shots of the roll cage right next to the driver looking forwards. I've been there, done that, seen that.
Yeah.
We see the normal track photos, and I'm not taking anything away from what people are doing, but we see the
Mhm.
track photos of a car rolling through the turn, and that's cool. But
Yeah.
I've seen it before, so that's why I
Yeah.
try to get content that no one else has seen and no
Sure.
one else has done.
Yeah, you're
So,
doing a good job, man. Looks good.
thank you. I do appreciate that.
You bet.
I did want to leave you with one question though. So,
Okay.
I know you started in the street stocks. You covered a lot of the New York stuff, and we have everything on Checkered. But if you had to pick one racetrack or one event to go to in the world, where are you going to go?
I have to think about this. You know, this could be a loaded question, but I'll be honest with you. If you asked me, well, if you asked me last year, I would have said Chili Bowl. It's always fascinated me, the
Hmm.
size and spectacle of indoor and stuff. That's really cool. Love that. But man, I saw the Netflix F1 special. I don't know if you watched those 2
Yep,
years series.
I love it.
That is freaking awesome, man. I love it. So, uh, yeah, I think I'd want to go to an F1 race maybe in
Hmm.
probably UK.
Yeah, that would
I'd
be.
like to go there. Oh, you know where? No, take it back. I've been to Austin, Texas, right? I
Mhm.
don't know if you've ever been there, but if you
No.
haven't, you should. It is nothing but a good old time. And to add F1 to Austin,
Hmm.
that is a perfect storm. That's something. Yeah, that's my
That's
answer.
where you want
I'd
to
like
go.
to see the U.S. Grand Prix. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. That would be cool. That's going to go on the bucket list then. One of the
There
places I
you
want to
go.
go. So
Yeah.
I'm just glad you didn't ask me that question because I don't know if I could answer it either.
Right. Hey, it's a good problem to have. It means that you've got a good exposure to racing, and there's just so much cool stuff out there to see. So it's hard to nail it down, but it's a
Yep.
fun exercise.
And I would say, again, with all the exposure a lot of racing teams, tracks, and series are doing nowadays, the places that we don't get to go, I'm based in central Pennsylvania. So I would love
Right.
to see a lot of stuff out west that I don't get to go to, get on
Yep.
Checkered, check the stuff out, and I can see it. While it's not the same as being in person, I can see what's
Yep.
going on, stay up to date in those worlds too.
Yeah. 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 Cool.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, for folks that want to check it out, how can they get the app?
Sure. So, Android, Apple, in both of those stores. We just were ranked the #3 sports app in the U.S. on Android, which is pretty exciting and unexpected. I got the email and I was like, "Nah, this can't be right." Seriously. But
That's awesome.
yeah, our initial numbers out of the gate here are pretty good. So that was really cool. And I screenshotted that. And
Oh,
so,
I guarantee it.
so anyway, answering your question, Apple, Android app stores, or easily you can go to checkered.com. There's links to it there. And checkered is spelled with all the letters except vowels. So it's CHCKRD. So it's CHCKRD. We've got a dumb thing that people say we're too fast for vowels, but I'll leave it there.
Love it.
Um, but yeah, checkered.com is probably the easiest way to get it. Checkered app on Facebook and that sort of thing. Or right through, Checkered Flag Media, follow you and keep on top of it there. But we're going to do a lot more marketing and the word will get out there more very soon. So
Awesome. I recommend everyone check it out. Like you said, it's 8 cents a day to see nonstop racing content. They can follow us on there, and there's a lot of other good stuff and a lot of really cool things coming up that you've talked about that I'm looking forward to as well. So I
yeah, for
recommend
sure.
everyone get on, check it out, and see how they like it.
Thanks, man. Hey, a couple months, let's check back together and we'll see where we are.
Absolutely.
That's all right with you.
Thanks for your
All
time
right.
tonight, Chris. I appreciate it. Yep.
Good deal, man. Talk to you
Thank you.
soon.